Alright, we're going to talk about exponents and order of operations, and today this video talks about order of operations. So we're going to use order of operations to maybe simplify some expressions. So here we're going to simplify some expressions. So let's go past all of our exponent stuff and go up here and talk about order of operations. Order of operations is really important because the order of operations tells us, and not us just by ourselves, but us as a mathematical community, how to evaluate an expression, because it's important that all mathematicians know what what an expression evaluates as, because we're using the same rules. So if we don't use the same rules to multiply first or divide first or exponents first, or what are we supposed to use first? If we don't have a common way to discuss expressions, then we won't have common uh, outcomes, I guess. So here's a list of steps copied from a textbook that talk about the order of operations. And the order of operations basically just tells us if we've got a whole bunch of things together, what do we do first? How do we multiply? How do we divide? Which comes first? Which comes second? So here's our first step. Step 1 says simplify expressions within parentheses and other grouping symbols first. These include absolute value bars, fraction bars, radicals, blah, 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 blah. A lot of words. But I'm going to substitute just a P over here. And I'm going to say, you know what, if we've got parentheses, that's what we're going to talk about. Parentheses, brackets, value bars, absolute value bars, things like that. So we're going to take a look at those first, those parentheses first. Step 2 says that we're going to evaluate expressions including exponents. Exponents include radicals and absolute values, things like that. So you evaluate those exponents next. So I'm going to say, just a reminder, well, here is my exponent. I'm going to write down an E as an exponent as a kind of a reminder. Step 3 is perform multiplication or division. Multiplication or division in the order that they occur from left to right. So you know what, I'm going to say, here's my mnemonic device, multiplication or division. And I'm going to write a little arrow here that says, you know what, if it goes, we've got to evaluate these from left to right. Step 4 says addition or subtraction in the order that they occur from left to right. So I'm going to say that there's my addition or subtraction. And I'm going to remind myself, oh yeah, there is my arrow that reminds me that I'm going from left to right. Anytime I see addition or subtraction, I got to do it left to right. Multiplication or division, left to right. Parentheses, exponents. So here's my acronym. Sometimes it's called PEMDAS. Sometimes it's described as, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally for whatever reason, whatever she's done, putting her elbows on the table or whatever. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. There's the acronym and there's the mnemonic device. And some people write it like this. I write it like this. PEMDAS. You could also, I suppose, write it like this. MD and AS should have an arrow kind of reminding you that you evaluate left to right. So there's how we have created a mnemonic device, PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Anytime you're trying to evaluate something, use that mnemonic device. So let's try this. Try that PEMDAS. Remember, here's our mnemonic device. PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. My dear, and multiplication, division, left to right, addition, subtraction, left to right. Well, let's see. What do we got here? I've got 17 minus 3 times 2 plus 2 squared. Yikes, a whole lot of stuff. Well, are there any parentheses in there? No parentheses at all. So really, if I'm going to kind of write down the steps that I'm taking, there's no really parentheses here. So I just keep this expression as is, no changes. Any exponents up here? There sure are. There's my exponent right there. So I'm going to say that 2 squared is 4. Everything else just stays the same. So I got 17 minus 3 times 2 plus 4 is what changed here. Alright, sounds good. Now, what else has changed? I guess what's the next step? We've done parentheses, we've done exponents. So now I take a look at multiplication and division, left to right, and see what has changed. 17, that doesn't change. 4, that doesn't change because we're not multiplying. 3 times 2, oh yeah, that changes. So 3 times 2 is 6. Everything else stays the same. So 17 stays the same, minus stays the same, plus 4 stays the same, and that was my multiplication and division left to right. And there we go, 3 times 2 is 6, and there's my multiplication division. That's the only thing that really changed. All right, last step, addition, subtraction. What has changed? Let's see, addition, subtraction is my last step. Addition, subtraction. I got addition and subtraction here. I got addition or subtraction right here, so I'm going left to right. 17 minus 6, 11, plus 4, 15. Addition and subtraction left to right, done. There I have evaluated my exponent. All right, I dare you to stop the video and evaluate these guys using our PEMDAS. All right, now that we've stopped the video and you've done it yourself, let's move forward. Let's see, do I have any parentheses? Let's see, any parentheses? Absolutely, I've got a parentheses at 3 times 6 changes to, or sorry, 3 plus 6. Even though it's addition here and this is multiplication over here, we still do whatever's inside the parentheses. We evaluate that parentheses first because that parentheses tells us we got to evaluate that first. 3 plus 6 is 9. That stays as 9. And the 2 times the 9 stays outside. Exponents. Any exponents? No. Any multiplication and division left to right? Absolutely. There's only one multiplication division. 2 times 9 is 18. And there's our answer. We've evaluated. So we've used parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division left to right, addition, subtraction left to right. Whew. Here's a couple more. Let's go through again. If we're talking about order of operations, we'll talk about PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally is the way to remember it. Multiplication and division, we've got to evaluate left to right. Addition, subtraction, left to right. All right, so please, parentheses. Any parentheses here? Nope. All right, move on to the next. Exponents. Any exponents here? No, no exponents. Multiplication and division, left to right. 25 minus, that's subtraction, divided by 3 times 4. Okay, well, right here we've got a multiplication and division. We've got to evaluate left to right. So 25 minus didn't change. The only thing that's changed now is 12 divided by 3 times 4. 12, remember we do it left to right. 12 divided by 3 is 4 times 4, 16. And there's our evaluation left to right. Addition and subtraction left to right. Sorry, that's a crummy A. Addition, subtraction left to right. Well, we've only got 2 terms. We're subtracting 25 minus 16, 9. Done. And there's our multiplication and division left to right. Or sorry, in fact, our entire PEMDAS left to right. All right. You know what? If we did, let's assume that we did this multiplication and division first. That we did this multiplication first. Let's see what would happen, because I'm kind of curious. If we did this incorrectly and we did the multiplication first, we would get 25 minus 12 divided by 3 times 4 is 12 divided by 12. 25 minus 1 is 24. Frowny face, only because we've got to follow the rules for order of operations. Multiplication division has to go left to right. That's why I put it left to right with the arrow going from left to right. If we do it correctly, according to the order of operations, 12 divided by 3 times 4 is 12 divided by 3, because division or multiplication, anytime you see it, you do that first, left to right. 12 divided by 3 is 4, and then multiply by 4 to get 16. Not this one down here. We've got to do it left to right. All right, let's do this one real quick. See what we can do. All right, parentheses. Yes, do we have parentheses? Right here and right here. The round brackets and the square brackets. If we do have parentheses, here's our first parentheses, our first bracket. But so we're evaluating what's inside the square bracket. So if we're evaluating the square bracket, we've got to start again with PEMDAS inside the square bracket. This parentheses comes first then. So we evaluate that one. 28 minus 2 times didn't change. I'll put this square bracket as well. What did change? Well, you know what? The plus 4 also did not change. But what did change? 6 minus 3 is, I'll change my pen color, 3. And, let's see if this still works. There we go. Squared didn't change also. So there's our first parentheses. And again, we're evaluating what's inside the square parentheses first. Now we've got to do exponents. I got 28 minus 2 times plus 4 square bracket. Didn't change. All we're doing is evaluating this. 3 squared. What changed? 3 squared, 9. Again, we're still evaluating what's inside the square bracket first. All right, what are we doing next? Inside the square bracket, we've got to evaluate this. Any multiplication or division? Nope. Addition, subtraction? Absolutely. So 28 minus 2 didn't change. We still got the square bracket. 9 plus 4 gives me 13. And that was our evaluation of the square bracket. We evaluate that square bracket first by following PEMDAS inside the square bracket. Now that we've evaluated the square bracket, we go outside the square bracket, include the square bracket because we've evaluated the square bracket. Now we do again a PEMDAS. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to change that to blue just to make sure, just to be consistent. Make that a blue P. Any parentheses? Well, not really. We've evaluated that parentheses. Any exponents? No. Multiplication and division, left to right? Absolutely. We've got 28 minus, didn't change, but now we do change the evaluation of the 2 times 13 to give me 26. Just my multiplication and division, left to right. And now, last one is, well, we evaluate addition, subtraction. Addition, subtraction, left to right. 28 minus 26, 2. Done. I have evaluated my kind of long expression up there.